Hare Krishna, Namaste, Hallelujah, Aloha. Hallelujah. It's the morning of September 8th, 2018. 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 2 is 19, plus 0 is 19, plus 1 is 20, plus 8 is 28, 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 and 0, everything and nothing, brings you back to everything. Or 1 times 0, everything times nothing, is nothing. The paradox above, behind, and beyond all of this. True lies. Deceptive truth. That's how it is here. It's all split in two. And they meet in the middle, where the 3 is. The 3 which frees you and freezes you. Cancels out your I believe so over here in the right hemisphere, and I think so over in the left hemisphere. Those are limitations. When you're exclusively going by thinking or feeling, you're in limitation. You're one-sided. Whereas when you've married and merged these, you come into balance of knowing down the center, the sea enter. And you transcend. You end the trance. Today is the 8th of September. What are we getting? 3 days coming up, of course. Yeah, you know it. The 9/11 or 7/11 ritual. Commemoration. Anniversary. How many years ago was it now that 7/11, 9/11 happened? That was 17 years ago. 7/11, well, because September is Latin for 7, October, beyond October is 8, November 11, Novum is 11, December, like decade, DEC, Decem, Latin for 10. And that would make January 1 and February 2. Why did January and February, why are they the only 2 months that end in Airy? Because during that time, after the sun symbolically dies at the southern cross of the Tropic of Capricorn, at the winter solstice, when the sun stands still for 3 days, he's in his tomb, where he started descending in autumn. Then on the 4th day, the 25th, he starts popping up. He goes up a degree. He's resurrected, reborn, raborn. And he starts rising to Aries on the ecliptic, marching to March. The solar hero, the sun god, son of God, sun's god. This is why Jesus' birth is on the 25th of December. Because Jesus is the sun god, son of God, sun's god. Horus, Zeus, Jupiter, Zeus, Jesus, Christ, Krishna. The light of the world. He says it how many times? He says he's the light of the world. He says, you're the light of the world. You. And then he says, God is light. John 1:5. And in it, there is no darkness. Photon. Jeez. So, when will people's light bulbs turn on? You see, mine started turning on, luckily for me, in my early 20s. I was living out in San Diego at the end of the 90s, and I started awakening to the synchronicity in my life, the meaningful coincidence. I started awakening to depth psychology, Carl Jung's thinking. I started awakening to mythological symbolism, Joseph Campbell. I saw the Joseph Campbell Bill Moyers series on PBS, The Power of Myth. And I learned the backstory of America from guys like Oliver Stone and his JFK film, and I saw Malcolm X. This is before my early 20s, when I was an adolescent, when I went to the movie theaters and was keyed in. Oh, and then Bob Roberts was another big one. I was keyed into the fact that I was conditioned to see my nation as something it's not. I was conditioned to see this as a shining city on a hill. See, these founding documents are wonderful, right? But these are one thing, and then there's what's actually happened. And there's what's happened after these were passed and the whole thing. We have this shining city on a hill American exceptionalism where people are conditioned to trained to think of America as a moral authority, when in actuality it's an immoral authority. It's especially post World War II. What happened at the end of World War II was that England, through Churchill, passed on the keys to the empire, to the global empire, Phoenician, Phony Phoenician operation, commercial control of the world, of finance, and the whole thing was passed over from England to the U.S. The U.S. became the new center of the hegemonic empire, global empire of the elites, the elites. When 911 happened in 2001, the 911 ritual, call 911, emergency, the Phoenix Phony Phoenician, P-H-O-E-N-I-X, phone is anagrammatic with the P-H-O-E-N, and then I-X, I is Roman numeral, I is Roman numeral 1, and X is 10, which makes the 9, or the other way, XI is 11. Phone 911. Phone emergency. Phony emergency. Because it wasn't about the emergency, it was about the emerge and see ritual of bringing down the two to make one. Taking down the twin towers, the twin pines, to make the one pine, the lone pine. See, Barely Human 11's 9/11 was predicted by Back to the Future predicts 9/11. This was a ritual in the making from the beginning that these towers were erected. They were erected to be brought down, to do the ritual, because that day on 9/11/01, 2001, A Space Odyssey, with the black monolith, the Kubrick film with the black monolith, which is what the Millennium Hilton at Ground Zero was modeled on. Kubrick was telling you 2001 was the year they were going to do their mega ritual. Arthur C. Clarke wrote the book for that reason, because these people are all privy to the ritualism of these skull and bones creeps, oligarchs who run everything behind the curtain, who own the Wizard of Oz president. That's what the president is. The Wizard of Oz represents in Frank Baum's novel, the president of the United States, the charlatan, who doesn't have the real power. He's a puppet of the real power, the real deception in this world. Skull and Bones out of Yale. I started waking up to who really runs the show before 9/11 happened. I was going to bi-monthly ufology presentations in San Diego. I was in the San Diego UFO Society. I read Jim Mars's Alien Agenda. I read also his Crossfire about the JFK, which is where the Oliver Stone's source material, most of it for his film, JFK. My birthday is the same as Kennedy's, May 29th. I was born in the bicentennial with Kennedy's birthday, 16 minutes into the day, 12:16 a.m. on 529, which adds to 16. 5 plus 2 plus 9 is 16. 1 plus 6, 7. My full name's 16 letters. 11/22/63. When they killed Kennedy, my father turned 11 on 11/22/63. And then there's the 33 and the 22 synchronicities I had when I was out in San Diego, or before and then when I was there. The 33rd parallel, which is where Dallas is, where the site of the ritual that was done in 11/22, 11 plus 22, 33. 33rd parallel, same as Baghdad, Iraq. There's a high order ritualism involved here, but this mega ritual of 9/11, it's so transparent. I knew that day, right when I heard Peter Jennings say, "This has been an attack on our way of life." I could see how they were framing it that day, what it was, what they were doing. that it was a ritual. And it was a phoenix ritual, I know now. It was the phoenix resurrection, rise, bringing the one from the two. Out of many comes one, order out of chaos. They brought us into their new American century, these Zionist creeps, and they've been completely going after knocking down the list of Middle Eastern countries they said they were going to go after. Look into this stuff. Hitler did the Reichstag burning in order to justify going and invading Poland, and then his whole adventurism. He needed to get his people behind him. This is the same thing with what happened, what 9/11 was. It wasn't just used as an excuse to go after Iraq and Afghanistan, get all the poppies fields going again after the Taliban had shut them down, to get all that money back into the U.S. economy, the laundered money of the poppy operation that U.S. soldiers guard, which is why we have this opioid crisis now here. It was created by the rulers, by the oligarchs, who do not have any interest in you or our people's government. They own the government. They did this emergency 911, 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 1 is 11. 11, L even, L is the Phoenician phonetic for God. Elevation to 12 o'clock, the Most High. They did this to usher in this new age of where they could, pass things like the Patriot Act and completely overturn our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence, our Bill of Rights. And they're going to keep coming for more of it unless people wake up. Which is why I'm speaking right now. 9/11, 11/22, people who killed Kennedy, the people who killed all those thousands on 9/11, and subsequently ordered the killing of all the innocents over in the Middle East, in the name of the U.S. and in the name of us, in the name of democracy. They're going to come for us next. They already have. We're already owned. We're enslaved by money. The story of the Americans' founding documents is not a simple one. Documents once lost were later rediscovered. The Constitution's importance was never in doubt, but the Declaration of Independence underwent a massive redefinition and rise in importance in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, and the Bill of Rights in particular piggybacked its way to prominence on the Declaration of Independence, or more precisely, on the amendment to the Constitution passed in part to realize the Declaration's principles. Moreover, not one of those documents was the work of a single great man. Americans remember Thomas Jefferson as the author of the Declaration of Independence and James Madison as the father of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, but all three of those documents were adopted in forms different from what Jefferson and Madison proposed and preferred. They were created by bodies of men who spoke for their constituents, the American people, and were ratified by the people either directly or through their elected representatives. That made the founding documents of the United States different from their English predecessors, such as the Magna Carta, which was granted by kings to their subjects.